Mothering first came to me as a teenager. Mind you, I wasn't the teenager. The kid needing some mothering was. No, I was in my early 30s when my boyfriend and I moved to the little yellow house in North Durham. After 3 years of dating, we were officially shacking up, as Isaac romantically called it. We knew this was a big step, but we weren't counting on the house coming with a built-in parenting package. I went out the back door one day to see this boy grinning at me from our yard swing. Jack was an odd kid, 13, but seemed much younger. He adored Pokemon and Spider-Man. He could be extremely skittish, screaming at any sudden noise, but he was also ridiculously brash. Once we started talking, Jack casually pushed his way into my whole life. Soon he was hanging out on the weekends and coming over most days after school to get help with his homework. He was in a special education class, and he alternately seemed miles too bright for the work and then almost unable to do it. I was working on my master's thesis and was home a lot. Jack's mother, on the other hand, was almost never home, and as far as we could tell, she didn't do much mothering when she was. Later, we found out that on Linda's 8th birthday, her own mother had baked her a cake, left it on the counter to cool, and then walked out the door forever. Her father remarried a woman who was abusive to the children. To escape, Linda left home early, never finishing high school. Now, if this were a fairy tale, a charming prince would have whisked her away from her troubles, but instead, Linda limped through life with no education and significant issues with irrationality, paranoia, and intellectual disability. Isaac used to say with equal amounts of humor and horror that Jack was raised by wolves. For Jack, the practical benefit in knowing us was learning to eat with a knife and fork, to look people in the eye, and to read and interpret social cues. The joy for Jack in knowing us was being given a model of healthy interactions and being showered with attention, even when, honestly, it was sometimes reluctant and short-tempered from our end. The pain for him was the growing recognition of the lousy hand he had been dealt in the mother department, a pain he has worked to manage for years. We spent 3 years living next door to Jack before we moved to a different part of town, where Isaac informed me I was not allowed to speak to the neighbors. But on his 17th birthday, Jack found himself on the street and called Isaac, who picked him up by a payphone at an abandoned movie theater, clutching all he owned in 2 small suitcases, in the pouring rain. Jack's dramatic arrival to live with us beat that of our first biological child by 10 months, and therefore he counts as my first son. Well, there we were, living in a tiny house on almost no money, me pregnant, and then with a new baby, taking care of a developmentally delayed teenager and getting him through high school and into the social service system with no financial help and no support from his family, who, in fact, hated us and at one point threatened to shoot Isaac. And was he grateful? Did he make it easy on us? Did he perhaps help out around the house? No. He was a typical teenager, argumentative, complaint-prone, and foot-dragging. This did help prepare me in advance for toddlerhood, at least. My therapist explained to me that Jack was utterly egocentric and self-focused and was incapable of appreciating us. Maybe when he's 25, my therapist said, he'll call you up and tell you he's grateful for everything you did for him, but you can't count on it. I failed Jack in so many ways. First of all, I am possibly the most impatient person in the world. I really have no business having children of any sort. Second, you may have heard that expression, I don't suffer fools gladly, but I will gladly make fools suffer. That sums up my young adult attitude. And frankly, Jack worked his way through a lot of foolishness, earning himself a lot of grief from me along the way. But this one was the hardest. See, I function on appreciation. The book, The 5 Love Languages, suggests that most of us gravitate toward one of 5 ways of recognizing and offering love. And what works for me is words of affirmation. But that was not going to happen. If you're going to do this, my therapist said, you have to do it because it's the right thing to do, even if no one cares, even if they actively hate you for it. So we did. and it was hard, and sometimes it still is. But now in his mid-20s, through the grace of God, Jack is a high school graduate taking additional classes. He lives in an apartment with roommates. He budgets his own money. He votes. And last year, Jack sent me a message. It said, "I just want to let you know that you are like a mom to me. And I know I do things to make you angry, and I'm sorry for that. But if it wasn't for you, I would honestly be dead right now. Life with Linda almost led to that many years ago. It's one of my many secrets I kept to myself. Forgive me, but that's how much you changed my life. You are and always will mean the world to me. I love you, Mom."